Welcome to Practically We Bring Learning Alive. Good evening to all of you. So today we are going to see a one-shot session on our environment, a chapter for your class 10 biology. Okay, but before starting the class, let's see what is the schedule for upcoming classes. Yeah, so this is the schedule for your upcoming classes. We have completed till 12th of February. So we have completed till 12th of February and today is our 14th Feb session. 2 sessions are remaining for class 10. So be sure that you will attend this class. Yeah. So this is the schedule for sample paper, but we have shifted this schedule. We will be conducting your sample paper as per your dates for the upcoming 10th class exams. Then this is the schedule for coding. We have completed till 12th of February and there are 2 more sessions remaining for class 10. So let's begin. What is an ecosystem? But before starting ecosystem, let us understand what environment is. So environment is nothing but the surrounding in which we are living, correct? Whatever the surrounding is there around us is known as environment. In that, we have different things. Now, first we will study what ecosystem is. Okay. An ecosystem is an area where plants, animals, other organisms, as well as weather, landscape, work together. Okay. So, this is nothing but a combination of animals, plants, and other organisms. Other organisms include microorganisms and various things, decomposers, etc. As well as weather. So weather is again part of environment, and landscape. Landscape means whatever the surrounding that we are seeing. So all of this work together in a bubble of life. That is nothing but ecosystem. Now ecosystem contains biotic, that is living component, as well as abiotic, that is non-living component, isn't it? Both the biotic and abiotic components are linked together. Let's assume, hi Shabana. Let's assume that if there is no abiotic component, what will happen? If there is no air, if there is no land, or if there is no water, what will happen? Will the biotic life sustain? No, obviously not. That is why both biotic and abiotic components are linked together. They go hand in hand. And that is why there is a nutrient cycle, isn't it? We will come to it in our later sessions, but this is what it means. And energy flows. So all of these are linked together. Abiotic components, not directly but indirectly, it helps to thrive the biotic components. Then biotic plus abiotic components surround and any organism is known as environment. That is what we said in the first part. That environment is nothing but the surrounding. Correct? Surrounding of an organism. So whatever the biotic, abiotic components are present in our surrounding, is known as environment. So let's see what are the biotic components. All living organisms. Now again, bio means living. So all living organisms like plants, animals and microbes. Correct? So this is the environment. So all plants, animals and microorganisms which are present in the soil, air, everywhere are known as biotic components. Whereas abiotic components includes physical factors, right? Such as temperature, light, air, soil. So whatever in this environment that you are seeing like soil, then ice caps, water, temperature, air, all are nothing but abiotic components. Then there are 2 ecosystems, natural ecosystem which consists of forest, pond, lake, etc. Ecosystem means the environment where living and non-living coexist is known as ecosystem. So in natural environment, all of these are present. Now this is an example, correct? This is a mixture of forest environment, correct? Where mountain is present, trees are present, animals are present, water is present. So that is nothing but natural ecosystem. Whereas artificial ecosystem is nothing but created. Like example is aquarium. In aquarium, what we do, we take salty water or water and we add animals to it. Then we have mimicking the environment of sea or ocean. So that is nothing but artificial environment created by human beings. Okay. So that is nothing but artificial ecosystem. Again, we will be seeing what are biotic components in depth. said biotic component is nothing but living component like plants, animals and microorganisms. They consist, that is, they are divided into producers, consumers and decomposers. So what are those? Producers, you might have studied in your earlier classes. Producers are nothing but plants. Correct? Plants or organisms that produce food via photosynthesis. So this process is very important to be considered as a producer because plants and green algae, cyanobacteria, all of them are producers. Why? Because they are producing the food. They are the first step. They are the primary energy converter because they are directly converting sunlight into food. But are human beings doing that? No, we are not. Therefore, we come into the category of consumers. We are consuming the producers. We are eating them. Correct? We are eating the producers. And that is why we become consumers. We are consuming them. So, primary, now again here is a division which we will learn in our upcoming session or upcoming slides. The first one who eats the green plants are known as herbivores. Okay, herbs means plant and vores means eating. So, herbivores which get their food directly from the plants. Okay, whereas carnivores are nothing but organisms which eat the animals. Correct? Which eat the animals who are consuming the plants. So, animals like lion, tiger, etc. Okay, animals like lion, then tiger. These are nothing but carnivores. Okay, which get their food indirectly from the plant because these animals are not directly eating the plants. They are consuming the animals which are eating the plants. So therefore, they are known as carnivores. And there is another category known as omnivores. Omnivores are nothing but they get their food directly or indirectly from the plant. That means they can eat the plants as well as they can eat the animals. See, this is the example of consumers. Now this cow is nothing but herbivore. Whereas this python or snake is carnivore. Correct? Carnivore. Then what is the third category? Third category is nothing but decomposers. Decomposers are usually microorganisms which decompose the dead plants and animals. The name itself says decompose. That means what they are eating which is dead. Correct? So mostly microorganisms do this part where they convert the complex organic food. That means whatever the plants or animals die, okay, whatever the animals or plants die, they go into soil. So organisms will convert their complex material, complex organic substances into simple inorganic substances like carbon, nitrogen, correct? So that is what microorganisms do. They will convert the complex organic substance into simple inorganic substances and that will be given into the soil. So what happens is plants again will consume these inorganic components to grow. So this is what the cycle continues throughout. So decomposers help a lot to continuation of the cycle, food chain or cycle. So what are the examples? Microorganisms. Okay, microorganisms. Then fungus. These are the examples of decomposers. Hi Nidhi Sharma, welcome. So now we will study in detail what are producers. So see, autotroph. Now producers, we have established that producers are the first animals or organisms, mostly plants and cyanobacteria algae. So what they do is they convert the sunlight directly. They utilize the sunlight and convert them into food via photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is the major process through which we distinguish autotrophs or producers. So autotrophic organisms capable of producing complex organic components. Now we in the earlier slide we saw that decomposers are converting complex material into simple form. But what autotrophs do, they convert the simple material. They take materials or components from soil, correct? And they convert into complex organic components through the process of photosynthesis or chemosynthesis. That means using chemical energy. Usually this process is followed by cyanobacteria. Correct? They are also a producer, known producer. Whereas photosynthesis is usually done by plants. Okay, plants. So what they do, they utilize the light from the sun. They take water from the roots that is present in the soil, carbon dioxide from the environment via help of chlorophyll. Now leaves contain chlorophyll, you all know. So the chlorophyll help in the conversion of carbon dioxide in the presence of light to oxygen. Oxygen is released and food is prepared. Starch is nothing but the food molecule that plants produce. So this food is prepared by the plant. Now since starch is produced, this process is known as, they are known as producers, because starch is nothing but food, correct? We are not capable of producing starch, but we are consuming. We can degrade the starch. Therefore, plants are known as producers. Okay, plants are producers. Then producers are the first trophic level. Now we will see what trophic levels are. But producers are the first trophic level because they are the first one who convert the light energy into food. Therefore, they are in the first trophic level of food chain. Again, food chain, what it is, we are going to see in our upcoming slides. Okay. Then these are the producers which provide food to the consumers. Because consumers, the name itself again suggests that we are consuming, we are eating. Therefore, producers help in the production of food and consumers eat the producers. So all life on earth is directly or indirectly reliable on producers. Isn't it? If plants are not producing food, how can animals consume the plants and how can they survive? Isn't it? So plants are very essential in the form of producers. See, examples of plants are, producers are plants, then algae in aquatic ecosystem, plants usually in terrestrial ecosystem. Now, terrestrial is nothing but land ecosystem, correct? And aquatic is nothing but water, correct? Water ecosystem. So, producers are present in both land and water. So, now we talked about consumers, that consumers are eating the animals. So, organisms that generally obtain food by feeding, that is eating other organisms or organic matter, is known as consumers or heterotrophs. Hetero means different, hetero. Trophic means they are consuming something, therefore they are known as heterotrophs. The producers were known as autotrophs because they were capable of producing their own food. But heterotrophs are not capable of producing their own food and therefore they are known as heterotrophs. Again, levels of consumers are. Now there are three different levels of consumers. Primary consumer, that means the first consumer who directly eats the producer. The examples are rabbits, grasshoppers, etc. So these are nothing but primary consumer. They directly consume the plants. Whereas secondary consumers consume the primary consumer. That means these are the animals that depend on the animals. Okay, that depend on other animals who eat plants. So secondary consumers like snake comes into the category of secondary consumer. Whereas in tertiary consumer, this type of animal can eat secondary consumer as well as primary consumer. But secondary consumer cannot consume the tertiary consumer because this is known as the apex. That means the highest level of consumer. Have you ever seen a lion or tiger being consumed by fox or any other animal? No. Why? Because those are the tertiary consumers. Lions, tigers. These are tertiary consumers because they are at the highest level. They can kill the secondary consumers, okay? They can kill the secondary consumers like fox. Then there is the, what you can say, wolf. Okay, these are secondary consumers. Why? Because they feed on this, no, rabbit. They feed on rabbit, isn't it? They feed on birds. Okay, so wolf, fox, they feed on this, but they cannot kill the lion or tiger. Okay, so this is how the levels of consumers are decided. And the third part is decomposers. We have talked about decomposers now. Decomposers are organisms that carry out the process of decay. That means they are breaking down the complex materials. Okay, they are breaking down the complex organic material into simple form. That is simple inorganic material which goes back into the soil. And that is why they are known as decomposers. They are decomposition. They are decompositioning. Okay, they are breaking down the organic matter. And the major decomposers in the ecosystem are bacteria and fungi. Okay, fungi and bacteria. So these are present mostly in the soil. And these convert the organic, complex organic material into simple form. So that's it for decomposers. So you might get a question that suggests any activities in daily life which are eco-friendly. So what are the activities which can be named as eco-friendly? So you might get a question in your exam that these what are the different activities, or in the daily life which activities you can perform which are eco-friendly. So I'll wait for a few seconds if someone is answering. If not, then we will just move ahead. So the answer can be written as eco-friendly activities like planting of trees. Now, this is a very simple activity. You can either plant a garden tree or you can plant huge trees in the area where trees are absent. So planting of trees can be an eco-friendly activity. Then segregating biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. What does that mean? We have to separate both biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Biodegradable means which can be decomposed. Okay, which can be decomposed. Those waste materials are known as biodegradable. Example being whatever the kitchen waste is there. Okay, kitchen waste. So you can see fruits, vegetables, dead leaves, plants. So these are nothing but biodegradable waste. But what about non-biodegradable waste? This is nothing but plastic, okay, metals. So these are non-biodegradable because they cannot be degraded in the environment. So we can separate these waste materials. This can be again done as the eco-friendly activity. Then using cloth bag or jute bag or paper bag instead of plastic bag. Whenever we are going to a market, we can utilize this type of bags instead of using or buying plastic bags. So because plastic is again non-biodegradable material, it can harm the environment. So to prevent that harm, what we can do is we can use cloth, jute or paper bag, isn't it? Creating awareness on environment protection through initiatives and campaigns. That is again an eco-friendly activity which you all can do, because many people are still unaware about the harm that we are causing to the environment. So you can create awareness about this. Then using manures and organic methods for agriculture. Okay, there is an organic farming method going on recently where manures are utilized. These are nothing but natural ingredients or decomposed by the organisms. So that can be used instead of pesticides and fertilizers. That is what this means, using less chemical fertilizers. Then controlling pollution by using fuels like CNG. CNG is nothing but, anyone? It is nothing but natural gas. It is compressed natural gas. Compressed natural gas. So many vehicles are running by using CNG, compressed natural gas. And if you are utilizing one such vehicle, then you are controlling the pollution. Okay, so this is how you can write an answer for your question if it comes in your exam. Okay, now we will see what food chain is. we learned about producers, consumers, and decomposers, correct? Now we will see how the food chain actually works. A food chain is a flow of food, correct? It is a flow of food energy because it is a chain, correct? So it is a flow of food energy from one organism to the next one and the next one. Okay, so it goes like this. It is like a chain and so on. They usually start with a producer. Okay, in this case, maize is an producer. Maize is an producer. What happens is a grasshopper or a small insect. What will they do? They will start consuming the food produce. That is, they will start consuming the maize. So this becomes the primary consumer. Okay, grasshopper will become primary consumer because it is directly eating the plant material. Then lizard, this is a secondary consumer. What lizard will do? Lizard will try to eat the insect. Now it is eating an organism, another organism. Therefore, it is a secondary consumer. But lizards can be spotted by snake. Okay, lizards can be spotted and eaten by the snake. So snake is known as tertiary consumer in this case. But if there was an eagle hovering on the sky, what will it do? It will try to consume the snake. Okay, it will try to consume the snake. So this is the food chain. How energy is transferred. Energy is transferred from producer, that is the organism that is producing the food via photosynthesis. This producer is eaten by a primary consumer, in this case deer. So you might get a question in exam, correct the food chain or write a food chain indicating organisms, different organisms, and give the labels. So this type of questions might come in your exam. Okay. So deer is nothing but a primary consumer and deer can be eaten by lion. So this is a secondary consumer in this food chain. But in the second food chain, grass is eaten by insect, which is over here. Insect is eaten by frog or lizard in that example. So lizard or frog becomes a secondary consumer and that is eaten by snake. So snake becomes a tertiary consumer. So it's very simple if you understand the role of producer, consumers and decomposers. Food web is a bit complex because in food chain it is a straight line. Okay, it is like going from one organism to other and so on. But in food web it is an interconnection. Why? Because plants can be eaten by n number of organisms. Okay, plants can be eaten by many types of insects, or in case of butterfly, flowers can consume the nectar. So what happens is primary consumers are many. That means different types of primary consumers are present. In this case, grasshopper, butterfly, and fruit fly. These are nothing but primary consumers. They have different types of producers. They can feed on different types of producers. But what happens is this grasshopper can be eaten by frog, can be eaten by rat. Now these both are secondary consumers. Also, butterfly can be eaten by dragonfly, fruit fly can be eaten by dragonfly, or it can be directly consumed by a bird. In case of grasshopper also, bird can directly consume a grasshopper. And this frog, which is a secondary consumer, what happens is this frog can be eaten directly by eagle or it can be eaten by bird. Okay. And rat also can be eaten by wolf. If there is no food available for wolf, what wolf will do? It will consume a rat, or it can kill a small organism like rabbit. So this is a secondary consumer. This is primary consumer. And this is producer. Correct. So this is how food web is. It is interconnected. Then this frog can be eaten by python. Python is again secondary in this case. Secondary. But python can be eaten by eagle, isn't it? Wolf also can be. Wolf pups, small pups, can be eaten by eagle. Birds can be eaten by eagle. So in this case, eagle becomes apex consumer. Okay, apex means the ultimate consumer. One cannot eat an eagle because it is flying so high in the air. But eagle can see the python on the land. It can see the wolf pup on the land. It can see n number of animals on the land. So what eagle do? It will come down, swoop down from the air and will pick up its prey. Okay. So eagle in this case is known as apex predator. And since it is interconnected, this is known as food web. Because web is nothing like web is interconnected usually, isn't it? Web is the interconnection of various threads. You might have seen spider web. It is very complex, isn't it? So web is nothing but an interconnected food chains. Different food chains are connected. Trophic levels. Now since I told you about this, no? Food web. So apex consumer I told you. Now we will see why it is apex consumer. We are going to distinguish them based on their track or trophic levels. So each step in food chain where transfer of food energy takes place is called a trophic level. That means the producers which convert the sunlight into food is known as first trophic level. Why? Because they are producing the food directly from the sunlight. They are converting the sunlight into food. They are taking the material from their environment. So they make the first trophic level. Then the primary consumer. We gave an example of insect. So these constitute the second trophic level. Why? Because it is directly consuming the producer. Then there is secondary consumer which constitutes the third trophic level. Because insects can be eaten by frogs. Okay, insects can be eaten by frogs or small birds. So these are secondary consumers. And then there is tertiary consumer. Up till tertiary consumers we saw, isn't it? They constitute the fourth trophic level. Frogs can be eaten by snakes. Okay, so snake is the tertiary consumer. But as I told you earlier, eagle can consume the snake as well. So eagle is nothing but the apex producer because beyond eagle cannot be eaten by other animals. So eagle is the ultimate. Even in case of animals, we can say humans are apex predators because we have means to escape from other animals. Okay, so we are nothing but apex predator. So energy flow in the trophic levels. Now we will be seeing how energy is transferred because plants are converting the sunlight or light energy and they are taking the carbon dioxide from the environment and converting it into food via photosynthesis, isn't it? So they are actually converting the sun energy into food energy. Okay. They are converting the solar energy, that is sun energy, into food energy by a process of photosynthesis. So about only 1% of solar energy. So whatever the sun rays are falling on the earth, only about 1% of sun energy or solar energy is converted into food energy and it is stored. So what happens is during the transfer of food energy from one trophic level, now we saw about the trophic level. So whenever the energy is getting transferred from first trophic level to the second trophic level to the next one, 90% of the energy is lost. It is lost and only 10% of energy is transferred from one level to the other level. Okay, so this is how it is. Producers, for example, are producing 1000 kilocalories, 10,000 kilocalories of energy. That means they are converting 1% of solar energy. They are converting 10,000 kilocalories of energy. They are producing that. So what happens is, rabbit suppose eats the plant, there will be some sort of heat loss. There will be some sort of loss of energy. So if a primary consumer is eating producer, it will get only 1000 kilocalories of energy. If a secondary consumer is eating a primary consumer, what will happen again? There will be some sort of loss. And only 100 kilocalories of energy will be transferred to it. And if eagle is eating a snake, that means the tertiary or ultimate apex consumer is eating the tertiary consumer, what happens is again there will be heat loss and only 10 kilocalories of energy will be transferred. So this law or transfer is known as 10% law. Keep that in mind, okay? It is known as 10% law because only 10% of energy is getting through the trophic levels. 90% is been lost. Now we will study the phenomenon of biological magnification, or in short known as biomagnification. This process is very important because this is directly affecting us but in an indirect way. How? Let's see that. Harmful chemicals like insecticides and pesticides. Whenever we are using these pesticides and insecticides in farming, what happens is we are throwing them or we are dispersing them onto the soil, and plants, since they are converting or they are taking materials from the soil, what happens is they absorb this chemical pesticides and then enters the food chain. If they are absorbing, they are not able to convert these chemicals into friendly chemicals. So what happens is these chemicals will remain as such in the plants and they will enter the food chain. Now, an animal, since they are non-degradable, they will be accumulated. So if an animal is eating this type of plant, what happens is that chemical will again remain as it is in the body of an animal. So the accumulation, there will be accumulation of this chemical from plants to animals. Then again that animal is eaten by other animals. So this chain will continue and it will enter the food chain. And in likewise process, it will keep on increasing. How? Let's see. This is an example of mercury. Mercury is nothing but a metal, liquid metal. So if it enters into the water system, maybe through insecticides or pesticides, what will happen is algae will grow on it, isn't it? Algae is nothing but producer. Okay, algae is nothing but producer. So what they will do, they will utilize the materials present in the water. They will take this insecticide, they will take this mercury into them and they will grow. Nothing will happen to them. But algae is consumed by insect. Okay, algae is eaten by insect. So what will happen? That mercury will go into the insect. But since the size of insect is big, what will happen? It will consume more of algae. Okay, so the number of algae consumed by the insect will be more. So there will be increase in the percentage. Now let's assume here only 10% of mercury is present. That is just an assumption. 10% of mercury is present in the water. Algae will utilize some, let's say 0.1%, okay, of mercury from the soil, water. But this insect will consume this algae, correct? So the number of algae consumed will be more. So there will be some amount transferred to the insect. Let's assume that is 0.2% because it is eating more amount of algae. But this insect is again eaten by other insects. They will require more amount of insects to survive, and over the time they will keep on eating this insect. So their number will increase to 0.3%. Okay, so they are accumulating. They are accumulating the mercury in them. These insects will be eaten by small fish. Okay, small fish. So the number will increase to 0.4%. Okay, small fish will be eaten by big fish. So their number will be like this because it is keep on increasing, isn't it? And ultimately, when humans are fishing big fishes, what happens is we are consuming the mercury. Okay, we are consuming. So what happens? Increase in the concentration of harmful chemicals is usually observed. And we are the ultimate, or we are the apex consumers. And we are consuming fish not on daily basis, but we are consuming fish, correct? So the chain, the magnification, you can see that from algae to fish it is 0.5%. And when humans are eating fishes, this will be like 0.6 or 0.7%. It's just an assumption. But this is what happens. And if harmful chemical reaches a certain level, we will have some sort of side effect. Okay. So this is known as biomagnification. So I hope you understand this process because it is very important. Ultimately, we suffer because of this sort of biomagnification. So the question is, what will happen if we kill the organism in one trophic level? Okay, since we have seen there are different trophic levels, so what will happen if one of the trophic level, all the organisms are killed? Okay, I'll wait for a few seconds and see if someone can answer this. Okay, no one? Okay, let's see the answer. Yeah, so killing all organisms in one trophic level would decrease the availability of food. What does that mean? Since we saw that there was a trophic level, okay, so if we are killing this, okay, if we are killing the primary consumers, what will happen? The producers will thrive more. There will be excess. There will be excess food. Okay. And the secondary consumer will not get food. Why? Because there is no primary consumer and they cannot eat the plants directly. So in that way, there would be an imbalance in the food chain. Okay. And that is why this is what will happen if we kill all the organisms in any one of the trophic levels. Hi Ganesh, good evening. Okay, so this is what the question and the answer should be like. So now we will see what are the effects of human activities, okay, on the environment. The first one, the example we'll be seeing of ozone layer depletion. Okay. So ozone molecule contains 3 oxygen. It is O3. Okay. Oxygen is usually O2. So if there is an addition, if there is a splitting of oxygen molecules, so what happens is the single oxygen, nascent oxygen, will go and combine with the O2 and it will form an O3. Okay. So that is nothing but ozone. What happens is ozone is usually at higher levels. It is present in between stratosphere and troposphere. So what it does is it protects the earth from harmful UV radiations. Okay, so sun is not only providing us sunlight, but along with sunlight there are radiations also coming on the surface of earth, like UVA, UVB, UVC. These are nothing but UV radiations. So what happens is ozone layer is protecting the penetration of UV radiations onto the surface of earth. So it is preventing us from getting harmed. So what happens is if UV radiations penetrate the surface, we will have skin cancer. Because it is a radiation, it will mutate our skin, it will make changes in our cells. Okay, and that is how we get cancer, skin cancer. But ozone layer is protecting us. But excess utilization of chlorofluorocarbon, this is the molecule or component which is usually utilized in refrigerations, okay, or fire extinguishers. So this component in excess utilization, what it was doing was, it was creating holes. Okay, it was creating holes and it was depleting or it was reducing the layer of ozone, and that caused the penetration of UV radiations onto the surface of earth. Okay, so this was how the human activity, since refrigeration is the process that we are utilizing on a daily basis. We all have refrigerations in our home, and fire extinguishers are required because if there is a fire, we need to extinguish. But if this component is utilized in excess, that is chlorofluorocarbon, then it will harm the environment. Okay, so this is the effect of human activities on ozone layer. I hope you understand. Ganesh, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, you can interrupt the lecture in between. Now we'll see what the solid wastes are. Okay, we saw that as a air pollution. Now we will see what solid wastes do. The waste material which gets accumulated in the environment, which gets accumulated means what? It is getting saturated over the period of time. Garbage is getting accumulated, okay, in the environment for shorter or longer duration. That means for small amount of time or long amount of time. Shorter amount of time can be said as the kitchen waste, okay, and longer period can be said as plastic. Okay. So these waste accumulate in the environment. If you have ever seen a garbage dump, you can see that there are lots of plastic material lying in the garbage. So these maintain the these are the main source of soil pollution. This is how soil pollution is caused. And usually solid waste comes from households, like residents from a house, then cattle sheds. Why? Because the cattle are also doing, they are also having excreta and all, and the farm material, whatever is there, agricultural waste. So all these industrial waste, all of these contribute into the solid waste category. Okay. So peelings of fruit, vegetables, all these are nothing but agricultural waste or household waste, you can say. But these can be clumped as biodegradable, okay, because they are degrading in the environment. They can be decomposed by the organisms. Okay. But metal objects cannot be degraded by the environment. This is non-biodegradable. Okay, this is not biodegradable. When these accumulated in the heaps, it will be known as solid waste. Okay, and it will make the surrounding dirty and polluted. Okay, bad smell will come. It will be very bad to visualize also. So this is how the soil pollution occurs. So what can we do? We can divide them into biodegradable and non-biodegradable. Okay, we can separate them. We can segregate them, since waste can be accumulated in the environment mostly by human activities only. So we can categorize them, correct? So biodegradable waste includes paper, kitchen waste, vegetables, as I have told you earlier, or even agricultural waste, agri waste, plants, okay, dead plants or animals that can be contributed as biodegradable waste. But what are the non-biodegradable waste? It can include plastic, metals and batteries. This is nothing but electronic waste. Okay, this is nothing but electronic waste. Nowadays we are utilizing mobile phones on a large scale, correct? Then we have computers, then we have batteries, battery operated things. So all of them contribute into electronic waste, and these are not biodegradable because they have chemicals in them. So we can categorize them into biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. So biodegradable waste can be again from household garbage, human urine or fecal matter, or even animals, agricultural residues, wood, paper, cloth, hay, cotton, etc. So all of these are nothing but biodegradable waste. Okay, these substances can easily be degraded by natural means. Natural means what? By microorganisms. Microorganisms can decompose this apple, isn't it? It can decompose this apple, banana. You can see the process here. Okay, decomposition. You can see the process that this is nothing but fungi. Fungi. Okay, fungus is growing on the apple and it is trying to consume the apple. It is degrading the apple with the help of different enzymes. Okay, with the help of different enzymes, it is degrading the apple. So this is how biodegradable waste is converted from complex material to simple material, to simple inorganic. Okay, so it is converting. Microorganisms are converting this complex organic material into simple inorganic material. So this is what biodegradable wastes are. But how is it harmful? This biodegradable waste, how is it harmful on the environment? So decomposition of biodegradable waste results in the production of foul smell. What does that mean? If there is excess amount of biodegradable waste on the surface, what happens is decomposition will give us very foul smell. We cannot sustain. It is a very bad stench. So foul smell spreads in the surrounding. If you have ever seen a garbage dump area or a manure manufacturing area, you can see that lots of biodegradable waste is accumulated in that area, and microorganisms are doing their job. So what happens is a very bad smell is coming throughout the area. Then there are flies. Okay, flies are feeding on this decomposing material. So what happens is lots of flies will breed in that area, and that will again lead to the spread of different types of diseases like cholera, conjunctivitis, diarrhea, typhoid. Okay, so these are common diseases which can be spread by flies because of excess biodegradable waste which is present in the environment. And these degradable waste can also block the drains. How? If suppose in a household we are not properly cleaning them, or cleaning or separating the biodegradable waste, what will happen? It will clog the drain. It will clog the drain pipes from our homes, and pools of water will be created on the roads or in a nearby area. Again, this will be a site for mosquitoes because mosquitoes thrive in water. They survive in water. So mosquitoes will be in large amount, and they will again spread diseases like malaria and dengue. So these are the harmful effects of biodegradable waste. Also, dumping of industrial waste will reduce the fertility of soil. Why? Because if excess amount of material is on the soil, microorganisms cannot directly convert them, correct? They will take lots of time. And they may ultimately lead to fertility, reduction in the fertility. And then that will lead to the reduction in crop yields. So these are all the harmful effects of biodegradable waste. Then what about non-biodegradable? Since biodegradable waste is also having an effect, what about non-biodegradable waste? What are those? Well, humans generate lots of waste. As we all know, we are generating lots of waste on daily basis. Only physical. In case of biodegradable, natural processes were used. But in case of non-biodegradable, only physical processes like heat and pressure can be used to degrade them or to decompose them. Okay. And examples of non-biodegradable waste is like plastic object. Now you all must be aware that plastic is a very harmful material. It cannot be degraded by the natural means. Okay, it accumulates in the environment for a very long time. Then synthetic fibers like polyester, then nylon, etc. So these are synthetic fibers. These are created by humans. Then glass objects, pesticides, industrial chemicals, heavy metals like mercury, lead, arsenic, cadmium, etc. Radioactive waste. So all of these are very harmful and dangerous. But these are all not biodegradable. So what happens is these non-biodegradable substances occur in the environment in gaseous, liquid or solid form. So in all the states it is available and it will cause us lots of harm. So see, this is the segregation that I have shown. This is glass material. Okay. Then this is cardboard, or you can say chemical or object like this. Okay, this is plastic. So these are the non-biodegradable waste. Now what we will see is what are the harmful effects of these non-biodegradable waste. So what happens is, since it is non-biodegradable, that means it is not going to be decomposed by natural means. These pesticides, industrial chemicals and heavy metals, radioactive substances will enter the food chain. Okay, we saw the process of biomagnification, isn't it? So it will enter the food chain and lead to biomagnification, and biomagnification will again harm us by giving us some sort of diseases. It will change, and similar diseases like cancer and other diseases can be occurred due to biomagnification. Then excess use of fertilizer and pesticides, then dumping of industrial chemicals will affect the soil fertility. As we have talked about, if more kind of chemicals are present in the soil, it will reduce the fertility of soil. Subsequently, it will reduce the crop yield. Thus, soil can become either acidic or alkaline. Acidic or alkaline means it will become either acidic or it will become basic. And the food cannot grow in this type of soil because Each crop requires a certain type of soil to grow. If it is more acidic and a crop doesn't require acidic type of soil, they cannot grow and it will affect the fertility of soil. Okay, fertility of soil. It will be affected by it. Also, lots of chemical waste is thrown as well as plastic waste is thrown in the ocean. Plastic, chemicals. Okay, in the ocean water. So what happens is it will directly affect the animals which are present in the oceanic life. What happens is plastic or nylon will go around their neck and they will suffocate. They cannot eat. So usually these animals die. They are like they cannot, they cannot ask for help. So what happens is usually populations of animals die in the ocean and sea because of this. So now we have a question. Let's see if someone can answer. What are the byproducts of fertilizer industries? How do they affect the environment? So the question might come in your exam that what are byproducts of fertilizer industries and how do they affect the environment? It is a simple question if you have understood the topic that we have talked about now. Let's see if anyone can answer. No one? No one wants to answer this? Okay, I'll give you the answer. Okay, so the harmful byproducts of fertilizer industries are nothing but harmful gases like sulfur oxide and nitrogen oxide. Okay, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide are the gases which can be released by fertilizers industries. While making the fertilizers, many gases are released in the environment. So these can be either sulfur dioxide or nitrogen oxide. They will cause air pollution. You might have seen the chapter where air pollution is caused by sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxide, and they will combine with water vapor and give acid rain. Okay, it will come as acid rain. It will cause harm to the environment. So you can frame this answer in such a manner for this particular question. I hope this is useful for you. So now we will see modes of waste disposal. Now we saw different types of waste. Now we will see how they are disposed of. Okay. So waste disposal literally means getting rid. Okay, getting rid of waste. And there are different methods apart from natural means. So what are those? Landfills. Okay. You might have seen a dumpster where lots of garbage is collected into one particular area and it is thrown on the land and on top of it soil is thrown. Okay. So that is nothing but landfill. Then there is recycling of waste. If we have metal, okay, metals and plastics, even glass, these are papers. So all of these are recycled. Recycle. What does that mean? So if there is one particular product, let's say glass bottle, okay, it is broken, but it was earlier a glass bottle. So it will be recycled and made into either a glass bottle or any other component. So this glass can be reutilized. So this is what recycling of waste means. Even plastic can be done with the same thing. Metals can be recycled and paper can be recycled. So there are industries which reuse the used materials. Then preparation of compost. This is usually done by biodegradable. Okay, so preparation of compost is usually done by biodegradable waste. Incineration or burning at high temperature. So this process is usually done for chemicals. Okay, chemicals, usually done for chemicals and sometimes plastics. But mostly chemicals from industries, no, they are incinerated or burned at high temperature to convert them into ash. Okay. So we will see in detail what landfill and composting is. So in urban areas, majority of solid waste are buried in low-lying areas. That's what I told. If land is available, what they will do, they will dump all the waste in that area and they will bury that waste material with the help of soil. to level the uneven surface. So that is known as landfill. So this is known as landfill. Household waste such as peelings of fruit, vegetables, leftover food, okay, fallen dead leaves, kitchen garden, anything. So any biodegradable thing can be thrown into the landfills and they will convert into compost. Okay, they will convert into compost because land is nothing but soil. So soil contains microorganisms and other organisms like earthworms and insects. So they will convert this organic matter. They will convert this organic to simple inorganic matter. So this can be utilized as manure for agriculture. Then recycling of waste. As I have told earlier, there are different materials like metals, plastics, paper, glass can be reused by industries. See, paper is sent for special paper mills where paper is recycled. Then broken plastic like bags, buckets, bowls, mugs, discs, etc. are sent to plastic processing factories and they are again reutilized to make some other material or some other this other objects. In metals also, metals are melted. Okay, they are melted and then remolded into some other things. So that is the process of recycling. Whereas industrial waste like chemicals are again recycled. Some chemicals are reused by distillation process, but some of them are incinerated. Okay, and there is an example where plastic is used with the help of asphalt and roads are made. Okay, in some countries or even in India, there are processes where plastic is broken down into small pieces. It is mixed with asphalt and it is laid down on the roads to have roads. Okay, they have roads. So plastic can be utilized in that way also. Incinerating or burning at high temperature. As I was talking about, there are substances or compounds that can be only decomposed by using high temperature. Okay, and that converts into ash and some amount of gas is released. It is carried out in the incinerator. So this is an incinerator. Okay, this is the incinerator. So what happens is that high temperature, household waste or chemical waste or hospital wastes are burned. They are burned, they are incinerated and only ash is left behind and carbon dioxide is released. Okay, this is CO2 is released in the environment and only ash remains. Okay, so this ash can be utilized for some other purposes, but this is the process of incineration. So a question might come to you. Are food grains such as wheat, rice, vegetable, fruits and even meat are found to contain varying amounts of pesticide residues? State the reason to explain how and why it happens. Okay, so this type of question might come in your exam, upcoming exam. So I would like you all to give us some thought to this and give me your opinions if any one of you can. Okay, no one? Fine. So the harmful pesticides like DDT enter the plant body. We talked about this biomagnification process, isn't it? So chemical pesticides like DDT will enter the plant body. This will be absorbed and from the soil. So what happens is animals will eat them. They will get accumulated and animal's body will not metabolize it, will not able to degrade this, nor it will be excreted. Okay, so it will remain in the body and the concentration of these chemicals increases as you keep on eating the animals or plants, okay, which have the DDT. So therefore successive levels and thus found in food grains as well as meat. So this is how body contains harmful chemicals. So this is the process of biomagnification again. Okay. So this is a very important process. If you understand the process of biomagnification, you can create a number of answers. Okay, there will be different frames of questions for you all. So you can write in different manner how biomagnification affects us. So this is again the process of biomagnification, effect of biomagnification. So that's it for this session. If any of you have doubt, I'll clear them. Okay. I'll wait for a few seconds if any one of you watching can have any doubt in this. No one? Okay. So this is the schedule for remaining classes. On 15th you have math class and 16th you have physics class. And we will be having a sample paper discussion on a later date. These dates are changed. So we will be coming up with a new schedule which we will post soon. And then you have coding classes. Okay. Again, 2 classes are remaining for coding for class 10. So thank you from my side. Bye bye. Hope you have a good evening.